So there's a lot of videos about how bad distributors have gotten with throwing artists' music off Spotify. Even worse, you may have seen how there's no customer service at any of the distributors anymore, and artists are getting other artists' songs put up on their profiles constantly, or even worse, some AI slop is being served to their audience as them. And frankly, when I watch these videos, it's stuff that's been on my radar for years, but has gotten way worse very fast. But what all of these videos that are talking about this are doing is telling you about the problem, but they're not telling you how to make sure you don't get screwed by these problems, and particularly which distribution is right for you today, since that's changed a lot. So by the end of this video, you'll know which distributor to use and how to choose it for yourself and your own needs. So the first thing I need to do is get this out of the way. Some people will be in the comments saying, "Jesse, how can I trust you? All these distributors have paid you before." What I'm going to do here in this video is largely say bad things about all these distributors who've paid me before. Frankly, whether it was as a consultant, a producer, musician, or as an influencer, frankly, they've all paid me in some way. In my 16 years of doing this, many of them have taken me out to dinner. Hell, some even own restaurants with sandwiches named after me. I'm still gonna say bad things about them. I gotta tell you, if you think the couple $100 or $1,000 I made from them is worth my integrity, or frankly, what I make by being honest, you clearly don't get what I'm about. But here's the thing. Those distributors know I have an audience because I'm one of the few who isn't full of shit, and that's why they pay me, is because they know this is what I'm like. And if they choose to not do that anymore, I'll find other people to pay me. So let's do a brief overview of the distribution ecosystem, since frankly, most people in the music business I know don't even understand how this all works, and too many music marketers make really stupid charts that compare the wrong things since they have baby brains. So let's establish that 95% of the distributors deliver to all the major music listing platforms, and 100% of them deliver to the ones that will make up 99.9% of your streams. Meaning that if they don't distribute to like 3 small ones, who cares? In fact, there's very small differences overall between each platform, even the big indie distributors down to the smallest ones like CD Baby and DistroKid. But there's one major difference that's setting a lot of them apart, and that's access to customer support that actually helps, and secondly, access to gates that can be opened. So those two things are a lot of what we'll be discussing. So first off, we have what I like to call self-serve distributors. These are the low-level distributors that will accept anyone to sign up no matter how bad their music is, as long as they have money. And they'll put your music on all the major music distribution platforms. You know these: DistroKid, TuneCore, CD Baby, Too Lost, Lander, Root Note, Ditto, Horus, and I could go on and on forever because there's so many of them. But essentially, you don't need to get accepted through an application, unlike all the tiers above this, and you just need to check a box to the terms of service and pay a fee, and you can have your music wherever, as long as they don't find a bunch of flags in it. So then above that, we have the indie distributors. These are the distributors for big artists and indie labels outside the major label distribution system that largely strike individual deals with artists and indie labels. Some of these names you may know are The Orchard, Fuga, Believe, Stem, 1RPM, AWOL, Secretly, Spartan, Red Eye. Frankly, I could go on and on again. There's literally so many of them. But basically, you apply to be a part of these distribution companies through an application or a relationship you've made, and get access to a backend that has some more gates to be opened, some marketing tools, and they're more advanced than what you get through the self-serve distribution platforms. But most of the time, what you do pay them instead of some dumb yearly fee is they take a percentage of your music to have access to the better support and the gates to open. Now you may have thought,
Jesse, what about Symphonic, Venice, and United Masters?
Well, those are more complicated since they blur the line between the two levels we just talked about. They have tiers where anyone can sign up, and another tier where you get, well, more special treatment, where they approve you upon submission, which usually happens when you have somewhere above 500,000 streams on one song. And essentially their model is that they're giving good customer support to the people who pay them their higher than usual fee than a lot of the other services, but they give even better service to the artists they strike deals with. But they're making their living off of being a reputable platform that anyone can use. Now, above all of these, there's the major labels. The major labels are also striking licensing deals with labels and artists and distribute them. But frankly, we know that they have contracts that take percentages and have many gates they can open. And let's be real, if you're concerned with going with a major label, turn off this video and get yourself a good lawyer and stop watching me, since you got something really important to do. Now, some of you are thinking, what about all the pricing tiers?
all the different stores they deliver to. That's a big difference.
Chief, I gotta be real with you here. The prices I know can be a big deal for some of you who are on the broke or cheap side, and everyone deals with money differently. If you want to make a good decision here, you need to hear me out so you can get what price you're paying for, since frankly, a lot of you don't understand what you're paying for with these distributors. You think, oh my God, it's so exciting. They deliver to the BlackBerry music store or something. And really what we're about to discuss is much more important. So relax your soul for a second. Now that your soul is relaxed though, this is a good time to take you on a quick detour into, well, hell. So you may have probably seen a bunch of these videos that I have on the screen right now. Some describe artists posting on your profile without permission, while saying it's you that's the artist. Others describe Spotify saying you botted your profile even when you didn't, and you have no recourse to argue it since there's no customer service from Spotify or your distributor to help you here. Others describe 6 months of talking to an AI customer service bot in circles where the clanker gaslights you till you give up. Others involve getting your profile or song stolen by someone who claims to have legal rights to it by putting a copyright claim on it and dating their song earlier than yours, and then all of a sudden, your profile gets given away to somebody who has no rights to it. And even more stupid, somebody may put a content ID on your song with a sample that they didn't make that's a sample of your song and they're claiming they made it first. Others could be trouble for another artist that has the same name as you from another country where they can legally release their music, but you need to get them off your profile and no one will help you. These customer service problems end up ruining literally your life and your mood towards creating music as you end up in circles of hell dealing with a clanker. And while none of this is new, the biggest problem we have is that so many of the companies that distribute music have decided that dealing with their customers is annoying and drains profits from them, and their corporate board wants them to keep making increasing profits quarter over quarter, so they've nuked their customer service departments and gotten rid of it for a clanker. And I want to say this is kind of new. For example, if you even asked me just a year or two ago which distributor to go with, I'd say DistroKid, since their interface and accounting features made musicians' lives easy for a good price. But I'm going to tell you, as you'll see by the end of this video, that ain't the answer anymore. Today, the main reason you need to choose a distributor is if you happen to be unlucky enough to have one of the horrible things I listed a minute ago happen to you, you need to get help. So therefore, since nearly all of the distributors have nearly the exact same features or bells and whistles they sell, well, frankly, they're useless if they don't have a customer service department. And the prices are kind of negligible, especially if you're making money off your music. But you're probably getting the hint that a lot of the self-serve distributors aren't going to be the answer because you don't pay enough to get good service from them. But we need to talk about the indie distributors too, since they have their own flaws outside of taking 10 to 15% of your profits when you sign up for them. Since after all, they have access to all these bells and whistles, even departments, but a lot of the time what you were most excited about is you could have potentially one of their reps pitch you to Spotify playlists or other platforms, and you'd be more likely to get on a playlist. But the fact is, these distributors have all signed up so many artists that unless your dream is to get it on an editorial playlist or a feature in a genre that's really obscure, like let's say you make Balearic House, well, it's really unlikely that this relationship's going to get you anything because these distributors have gotten so crowded. With all these distributors signing up tons of artists, let's say you're a pop, EDM, rap, or grunge artist looking to get on a big playlist of your genre when you drop your next single. On average, from what I've seen and discussed with peers, most playlists or platforms are only adding 5 songs a week at best for features and other highlighted marketing blasts. So now you have to hope that with the tons of distributors all pitching Spotify that they're going to give preference to you because of their relationship with them. And yes, some of those relationships are better than others. I used to date someone whose job was to wine and dine playlist curators for placements or cover images at the top of a genre page, and they could get a lot more from those people they had relationships with than the people who didn't. So with these slots, you have to hope that on the week you're putting out your next song, that there's not 3 other artists who are going to be more favored than you or whose rep has taken out that curator to dinner recently. So the point being that when these distributors used to get people to sign up to their distribution, a lot of what they would say is that you'd get this preferential treatment and they'd get you all these features on the platforms. And frankly, they become so crowded that that is increasingly less likely. And really, the sad commentary of today is that a lot of time when they're pitching people now, they've shifted from saying, I'll get you this feature, I'll get you this marketing tool, oh, we can get you on that playlist. And instead they're saying, well, If you get botted, we'll save the day and rush in and get you. Oh yeah, and if you lose your Instagram password, we have somebody at Instagram that can help repair that if you get hacked or something.
Yeah, things are really going well in musician land these days.
But the real fact of the matter is, yes, you probably need to either pay with your annual distribution fee for the right to get customer service or give up 10 to 15% of your distribution money in order to get it in case something goes wrong. But I know some of you also are very scared because you see all these videos by people like All-Star Music Attorney who talk about all the fucked up things in the contracts with the different distributors. And honestly, there's reason for that. But I do have a take here. A lot of the big thing that we've seen in the let's call it clout department these days, where we get views for a living, is that a lot of people are making videos where they make up totally bullshit things about what is in these contracts and frankly read them wrong. But the other thing they don't do is they often don't compare what one distributor's contract looks like versus the other, because I will be honest, most of the terrible things in these that don't feel right to artists are in all of them. But one of the main things I want to encourage you to do is if you are looking into a distributor, you would be stupid to not do your due diligence to either have a lawyer look at it or to do some research on it. So here's some easy rules to do after you've chosen a distributor, since I know this stuff is important for some of you. Acknowledge that most of these contracts are the same and have some flaws. Listen to lawyers, not clout goblins, about the contracts you sign. Specifically, if you see somebody who's not a lawyer making a TikTok or a reel about this, you should really not listen to them and hit block on them. But lastly, realize that the main thing an entertainment lawyer does is look at contracts and say what's not up to standards or predatory in them. Lawyers really just understand the standards in an industry and say, hey, this is outside the standards of them. This is unacceptable. You shouldn't sign it unless they take this out. That's their main purpose in these negotiations. But I don't want to weigh in too much on the law because it's not my expertise. I'm just giving a little asterisk here. Let's get back to what we're really talking about here. Since I want to give you a framework to make decisions so even when things change down the road, you understand how to navigate them. So one of the things a lot of you do to make these decisions is you look if something bad is written about the distributor on Reddit. And frankly, every single one of them has complaints. Some a lot more than others. I may be looking at the cursed company known as Lander there. And I should say, for my lawyer's sake, that's just my assessment as a music business professional and an observer of these things. So before I get into my framework of how you choose a distributor, let me also say, I'm making a video this week that is going to be a lot longer about this, but it's going to be in my members feed for those of you who want long thought out feelings on this and really want to understand the landscape. So if you're interested in that, for $5 a month, you get over 6 hours of new videos every month, as well as my back catalog of over 100 videos where I explain the latest social media trends, answer your questions, explain the cheat codes of different genres of how you blow up in your genre faster than other artists, and I dissect how the biggest artists in the world are blowing up from 0 fans to now making their dreams come true, as well as the latest music promotion methods. And once a month, I listen to any songs my members submit of their music that they want me to listen to. So you should really tap in there, and there's a link in the description if you want to see more of this. So here's how I feel at this point about the different distributors. DistroKid, CD Baby, and Lander, while being a bunch of the biggest names in music distribution, have earned such a bad reputation for unresolved tickets for legit complaints that I've seen over and over and over again. I would be very wary of signing up with them, and especially look at Lander's recent changes to their platform, because they seem particularly more awful than the rest of the platforms, in my opinion. And if you take your music seriously enough that you would be devastated if you got it taken down from Spotify and other streaming services, or any of these bad things we've talked about would happen, and don't want headaches, you need a distributor that can help you when things go wrong. And the biggest part of this decision will be how much and how you would prefer to pay for that. And that's if you'd like to pay in the form of a subscription or a percentage. If you want to pay in the form of a subscription, in my assessment from what I've seen, talking to all these different musicians and observing things, services like TUNECORE and AMUSE make you pay for their top tiers to make you get good customer service. But that customer service at least seems to be more responsive than much of their competition. For the best customer service I've seen, services like VENICE, United Masters, and Symphonic allow anyone to sign up and get an even better customer service when you've applied to them and gotten a preferred partnership with them. But depending on the agreement and which company we're talking about, they may take a percentage in order for you to get that advanced level of customer service. all of the indie distributors that you have to apply to are going to offer you bells and whistles like extra marketing opportunities, which can help potential distribution to real stores. And some even have great sync departments that help with that. But they are going to take 10 to 15% of your royalties for this. And the contract will last at least a year. And I do want to caution you that a lot of the marketing tools and gates they're going to talk about opening may not be something that you ever touch, and this 10 to 15% may literally be for the same services that you could get with some of the others. And the major labels will sell your soul to Satan. Just kidding, Satan is Suno, and they technically don't have enough of a valuation to afford buying souls yet. So listen, the problem with making videos like this is things change as time goes on, and I'm going to update the pinned comment below regularly with the things I see changing and who's being naughty and who's being nice. Since these services, they change and they turn predatory on a dime sometimes. I never would have thought 2 years ago that I would be saying all these bad things about some of the best known names in distribution. But here we are. So here's the thing. If you really want to grow your fan base, you need to watch this video that's on the screen right now. So you really need to watch that if you want to level up. Thanks for watching.